YouTube channel Iswa Field Academy. I am Suman Sir. Today I teach you two important things about resultant force and balanced and unbalanced force. In the last section we talk about force, effects of force, acceleration, rest. So in the last section we talk about. Those who have not seen it yet, go to my YouTube channel and watch it. Okay, so we start from resultant force. First we understand what is the meaning of resultant force, right? Resultant force. Resultant force. So before we state resultant force, first we understood from one example what actually means. Okay, so we take, this is the plane, on that surface or plane we put a box M. Okay, suppose this is the mass M, and same box we also put on that surface, they have also mass M. So suppose one of your friend have most powerful, so he or she apply some force like that 10 Newton. Okay, 10 Newton along east, and in this section, in this context, in this situation, your two friend, okay, like that, because they are weak, no powerful. Okay, so they act force F1 is also 5 Newton. In this situation also F2, two different person, so they also 5 Newton. So you tell me, in this situation if you apply force, the body will accelerate, we all know, and in this situation also body will accelerate, right? Body will accelerate. So I ask you, in this situation the acceleration, because mass will be same, also you force apply also that will be same in this situation, but one of different things will be here, two different person act force, in this situation single person. So my question is that the acceleration both the case will be same, yes or no? Okay, I think the answer will be the acceleration will be same. Okay, because force will be the same. So that means you say, so this, I mean I write like that, this F, I mean this is equal to, I mean this individual force, that means equal, right? So what actually means? It means if you write definition like that way, what actually mean, you write like that, if a single force acting, okay, acting on a body, above example, on body, produce same acceleration as produced by a number of forces, like these two example. So in this situation, in figure 1, in this situation the force applied 10 Newton, they produce acceleration, I don't know that what is the value of acceleration, but produce acceleration. So this case also produce acceleration in figure 2. So these single force produce, suppose acceleration a1. So in this situation, when these two force act on body, they produce acceleration a1. So that means if a single force acting on a body produce same acceleration as produced by number of force, in this situation more than one force act on body. So that's why I write, so of forces, number of forces, that single force, I mean this force I take, that single force is called resultant force. It's called the resultant force. So this is the actual meaning of resultant force. That means the total force act on the body. Okay, so this is the meaning of resultant force, right? So keep it in mind, sometime this resultant force also known as right, net force. Okay, it is also called the net force. Okay, so this is the meaning of resultant force. Okay, I think it will be understood. Okay, so this is the resultant force. So I will I think it will be more understood if I do some one problem. From that problem we actually understood what is the how they act, what is the actual meaning, but this is the understandable. Okay, so this is the meaning of resultant force. Now we are talking about balanced and unbalanced force. Okay, balanced and unbalanced force. Okay, balance, I think balance force, right? Balance, it will be balance force, balance and unbalanced forces. So this is also one of the most important concept comes in your field. Okay, so I think I will give you one example. I start from there. So same way, suppose this is the surface, you put a box, the box have mass m. Okay, suppose you apply force F equal to, in that situation along east, 10 Newton. So I also apply along opposite direction, I mean it will be this along east and this is the along west. So this time also F equal to 10 Newton. What is the phenomena will be happened here? So in this situation, you tell me, in this situation object have any acceleration are present, acceleration the body are accelerate. So the answer will be no, body are in rest. So what will happen? So we applying force, but in this situation the body are not accelerate. That means, you know, force will be the vector quantity, the this force act on force on that object along east and this force acts on force on that object along west. That means if I calculate the net force, I mean F equal to, we know net force, I mean total force, equal to, I mean this, if suppose if is the F1, if is the F2. So you write F1 plus F2. So suppose I know the 10 Newton acts toward east. Okay, so 10 Newton along east and 10 Newton along west. So what I do? I write like 10 Newton east, if I write like that, minus 10 Newton east. That means that sign indicate will be the opposite to the direction west. If you take minus sign, that will be understandable, that will be east. Okay, so you can write like that way. I think you are understood. That's why that will be get 0. So what actually means? That means if you equal and opposite force act on object, the body will be are in rest. So that means if net equal to 0, that means they indicate the force are equal and opposite. So this is the meaning of balance force, right? So always keep in mind, when F net equal to 0, that means the object are in balance. Balance force are act on that object, that's why object are in rest. Okay, so this is the concept of balance force. So what is the actual meaning of unbalanced force? So that one also I understood from that one example. So okay, so suppose in this situation you calculate the, suppose this is the F1 force along 10 Newton acts along east. In this time this force will be F2 15 Newton, that means along west. So what will be the net force? So in that time, if you calculate the net force from this situation, so you get F net, I mean total sum of force. So F1 plus F2, so you get 10 Newton along east plus 15 Newton along west. So I also take this force along one direction. So 10 Newton east minus 15 Newton also east. That means you understandable. So that's why I erase this one. So you get minus 5 Newton, means object will minus sign indicate to the opposite direction, I mean along west, because I take the along east, I take positive. So that's why if it is the origin, then you along west you take negative. So this is the just convention, nothing else. So here minus sign will be indicate along west, I mean 5 Newton west. That means that time acceleration, if I ask what is the acceleration, then the answer will be the acceleration not equal to 0. But in this situation acceleration will be 0, because there no force act. So when acceleration 0, that means net force. So what is the result? If F net not equal to 0, then you can say the unbalanced force act on the body. Okay, balance force act on the body. So that means for F net 0, that means it is the balance force, the net acceleration will be 0. So in this situation F net the unbalanced force, but in this situation acceleration will be not equal to 0. Okay. So if I write, so what I write? I write like that: if a set of force forces, okay, more than one set of forces acting on a body produce no acceleration in it, right? The forces are said to be balance, okay. And next one, if it produce a non-zero acceleration, the forces are said to be unbalanced, right? So this is the concept of balance and unbalanced force. Okay, so in this example, one important concept you always remember, okay, I mean this is the most important, because when you calculate balance and unbalanced force, and when the act force F1 F2, these two forces act simultaneously, okay, this force acts simultaneously, okay. So this is always keep in mind. Simultaneously, that means this is not like that. I mean, suppose I first I apply 10 Newton force, after then I apply 15 another force 15 Newton act another one. So not like that. That means these two forces act simultaneously, okay, simultaneously. When this 10 Newton act, that time 15 Newton act, okay. This is the main concept, you always keep it your mind, because some misconception create here, so that's why I tell you. Okay, so this is the concept of balance and unbalanced force. In short, you keep in mind, if two forces balance each other, they must in opposite direction and have equal magnitude, okay. That means it also keep in your mind, if two forces balance each other, okay, each other, they must be in opposite direction, and have equal magnitude, So this is the things you always remember. So this is the natural things we all know. Suppose this is the box, okay, we all know these are these box are in rest. That means you know that gravity acts towards the center and this surface acts normal. So these equal in opposite force. That means this force along downward and this force along upward, and equal in magnitude. That's why they are in rest. So balanced force always equal in magnitude and opposite direction. This is the main concept. You also keep it in your mind. Okay, and one also I tell you, the simultaneously that force act, that means not like that. Not like that means, suppose this is a box you put, so suppose I go, I apply 50 Newton force, after 10 minutes or 2 minutes your friend will act 20 Newton. Not like that. These two force at instant of time, both are instantly applying on that object. Okay, at in instant. When act 15 Newton from left to right, also 15 Newton or 20 Newton right to left. So if these forces are equal in magnitude and opposite direction, then that will be the balance. That when that time you say acceleration will be 0. Or when suppose this force will be 20 Newton from right to left and your friend act left to right, so then this time the object will accelerate along opposite direction, I mean west left. So that time acceleration will be not 0. So this is the unbalanced force act. So this is the concept we learned. So this is the three concept we understood, and actually I resultant force, balanced and unbalanced force. So to clear understand, I solve some numerical. So from that numerical we understood what actually mean. More concept will be clear from after solving this numerical. Okay. So in this situation, what is the situation will be here? In this situation, what will be the situation? Okay, I take this answer. So what is the question? Question is that a boy pulls wagon with a force of 6 Newton east. Okay, so the one force act east, 6 Newton east. Okay, east direction, and another boy push it within the 4 Newton east. Okay, so this is the F1, this is the F2, 4 Newton east also. So find the resultant force. So what will be easy, because these two force along same direction. So the net force will be, F net equal to, I get 6 Newton. These two force along same direction, that's why I add 4 Newton, that means 10 Newton east. That means the net force will be some value 6 Newton. What will happen? Okay, sorry. Net force will be 6 Newton, 10 Newton acts along east. That means the net force are not equal to 0. That means some acceleration comes. I mean body are not in rest, body are in move. That's why the you can say this is the unbalanced force act. So this is the concept. Okay, forces, unbalanced forces here act. Okay, so I think it will be understandable. Next one. Okay, problem 2. In this situation, a scorer ball is kicked with the 20 Newton to the right. Okay, in this situation, one force act F1 along right 2 Newton, and while friction apply 5 Newton to the left. I know, suppose this is the plane, when a box move along this direction, so the friction will take place opposite direction. Friction is the opposing force. When object are in relative motion, that friction force comes into the field. Okay, so when friction comes, always mind friction when comes, when object are in relative motion, so that time friction will be come. So when if object will moving right, the friction will be acts along left. So this is the concept about friction force. So this is the F1, and friction 5 Newton like apply along opposite direction. Suppose this is the right and this is the left, so 5 Newton. So what will be the force, net force? So if you calculate F net, I mean F1 plus F2, suppose this will be the, I take positive along right side, so this will be the 20 Newton or 5 Newton along left, but if I take like that minus 5 Newton, that means that time I saying that it will be the right. So net force will be 15 Newton. So because why I take minus sign, because force will be the vector quantity. Force is the vector quantity. Vector, they have magnitude and also direction. So in this situation, if I take minus sign, the force will 5 Newton will be along right side. Okay, this is the concept. So F net. So in this situation, this force also, okay, 15 Newton, 15 Newton. I mean, right side I take positive along right, along right. So this also unbalanced force. These also unbalanced forces. Okay. In the next problem, what I solve this, in this problem, a force of 6 Newton acts north and force of 8 Newton acts east. Calculate the resultant force. So suppose like that. Suppose a force 6 Newton acts north. So we know north along act, this is the north direction, act 6 Newton, and 8 Newton acts east. Okay. So what will be the resultant force? So that time resultant force you calculate, I mean it will be east, it will be north. Okay, that means the net force along northeast direction. Okay. So that time when you calculate the resultant force, so this is the resultant force, F net equal to root over 6 square plus 8 square, that means you get 36 plus 64, that means root over 100, that means 10 Newton. So this also unbalanced force, right? Unbalanced force. So I give you one example for balanced force. Okay, this is the question number 5. Suppose like that, like you take that a force, suppose like that, two equal force, two equal forces of 50 Newton, okay, 50 Newton acts on a body, in opposite direction, in opposite direction. Calculate the net force. Then calculate the net force. So what is the problem says? State. Problem state like that, two equal force 50 Newton acts on a body. It is a body. So two equal force 50 Newton acts on a body in opposite direction. Suppose F1 force act along east 50 Newton, and this equal and opposite force like that, F2 acts 50 Newton towards left. So that time if you calculate F net, you get 50 minus 50, that means 0. That means it will be the balanced force. So this is the concept of balanced force. So another problem also, a box has the following force acting on it. Okay, a box. So more than one force comes here. Okay, so look at, so 8 Newton up, so 8 Newton along this direction, 8 Newton down, that means along this direction, 10 Newton right, that means along right, or 4 Newton left. So in this problem, look, upward downward force equal and opposite, that means the body are not moving suppose this is the x axis or this is the along y axis. So because the 8 Newton acts along positive y axis and 8 Newton acts along downward, I mean negative y direction. So these two forces equal in magnitude and acts also opposite direction. So that's why if you calculate the net force along y, you get 0. That means balanced force. That means body are not accelerated along y axis. Okay, but in this suppose I take x axis, this situation 10 Newton acts along right, 4 Newton acts along left. That means they are force opposite direction and also are not in equal in magnitude. So that's why if you calculate F net, you get 4 Newton along right. Okay, that time 4 Newton along right. So this is also unbalanced force. Okay, so this is the concept. I think if this video help you, please subscribe this channel. Okay, thank you.